Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is season 3, episode 7 of the unofficial official story. I'm Koji, and I am stressed out. I just came back from a baseball game.
Wow. Well, I hope you guys got a lot of runs. I'm Dwayne, and I'm not stressed out. I mean, I have enough to be stressed out about, but I just decided not to be. And I've got some shorts on. I got a trucker hat. I'm loving life.
And I'm Kat, and I'm a frazzled dog owner today. That's me. I'm watching my boyfriend's dog and my own dog, and they're really picky about where they go to the bathroom. So that's sort of where I'm at. I'm like, gotta get to this podcast. And my dogs are like, yeah, but this isn't the right patch of grass.
I can't poop in this park.
And this is where we tell you the official story. We look at the paranormal, conspiracies, unexplained phenomena, cryptids, and true crime. And by the end, we'll tell you what really maybe happened. In this episode, we ask, is Hello Kitty satanic? Or should we say, hello demon? Ha
Right. But before we start, let's introduce our guest comedian, Caitlin Alyn. Caitlin Alyn is a comedian, writer, director, and actress based in Hollywood. She currently creates content for big brands like Lyft, Chipotle, and Sweet Tarts, as well as write jokes for the funny game show Funny You Should Ask, and so do I. Her comedy show, Valley Poppins, has just been revived after shutting down during COVID, and is almost every Tuesday at the Higher Path in Sherman Oaks. So if you're in California, come check her out.
Oh, you're right by me in Sherman Oaks.
Yeah, please come on Tuesdays.
Will, absolutely.
So the show's been revived. Describe the show without giving away too much.
Well,
the Valley Poppins.
Before the pandemic, I don't know if you guys know Mike Falzone. He's another comedian. And we just realized, like, we need a place where we can work out. And we don't want to do open mics. We want to have a real show. And I know there's a lot of comedians who also need that space. And we found that Tuesday nights were a pretty dead night. So before the pandemic, we were at a place called Oyster House. They shut down. So we were just kind of, homeless for a while. And we just landed the Higher Path. Like, now we're in a dispensary, but...
Oh, I see. Higher Path. Yeah. And Poppins, I mean, is the list is not set in stone, or
we
in terms of who's going to be on? We book people with a bunch
of drop-in spots, basically. So, like, we book at least 5 or so, and we give them 10 to 12 minutes. That's the other thing, is a lot longer than, like, what you'd get at an open mic. And then we get so many drop-ins. We have a lot of people who are, like, coming by, and we'll give them 5 minutes, drop in. So that's where the pop-ins part.
If you're not a comedian, workout in this sense means get on stage and try out new jokes. Doesn't mean do push-ups and things of that nature.
Like we could.
Right. And pop-in means when you're not scheduled to be on a show, but you show up and they throw you on. It's called a pop-in.
Yeah, I'm not a comedian, so I'd love to find out, how did you become one?
Trauma, mostly.
Usually
is. Yeah, I was going to say that's usually the answer. No, actually, I was working at the Laugh Factory. I was doing social media content creation over there. And, we got paid peanuts. And we didn't have any benefits, but the one thing that we did have was, free shows. We could go to any of the shows, and we usually I think we also got free beer, which, what a healthy work environment.
It's like a baseball game.
Like, we can't give you health insurance, but here's an IPA. Right. Yeah, I would just, like, stay after work, and I would watch and think very egotistically, like, I could do that. Mm-hmm. Like, I could do that. And I did a lot of improv, and I had written a lot. I'd taken storytelling classes and stuff like that, acted in a lot of films, and I was like, yeah, I think I could do that. It was a moment where I was watching Theo Von, if you guys know him.
Oh, yeah.
And he was just sitting up there, just chatting, telling a story, and it was so funny. And I'm like, he made it look so easy, for better, for worse. And then one thing after another just kept falling in my lap, opportunities to do it.
Very nice.
I was running their Instagram page, and I would roast a lot of the trolls. And that caught attention of someone who taught a comedy class, and she offered to give me the class for free. That's Pretty Funny Women, if you've heard of. Yeah, the rest is history. And that was a good setup for Funny You Should Ask, because it was all about how to write jokes.
I think we all have this thing that things should be hard, and life is hard, and but also when something clicks in that is kind of like your thing, it's surprisingly easy. It's still hard, but it sort of like the path lights up. It's like when Michael Jackson in the Beat It video, where the lights light up, and I was like, this is where I should walk. And not Beat It, Billie Jean, excuse me.
Yeah.
So did that happen? Did that happen in comedy?
Yeah, because I'd been in LA for probably 4 years at that point, and I was just, I thought that improv was going to be my thing. I was such a big Second City fan, and like loved Tina Fey and Amy Poehler and all these people. So I thought it was going to be improv, and I was at Second City hating it. And I was like, I don't like this. I'm too anxious for this.
You were like, Give me a place anywhere but here.
Yeah, pretty much. I was just like, this isn't it, but I didn't know what it was. And I didn't think that stand-up was going to be it. But it just, like I said, just things kept falling in my lap. Like, even when I was like, no, I shouldn't do this. And someone would come up to me the next day and be like, hey, I'm hosting a comedy show. Or, I have a comedy show. We need a host. And it just would like plop, just fall in. And the fact that I was at the Laugh Factory, and making content, like I had big comedians coming in, like, all the time to shoot stuff, to have podcasts, to do all these things. And so I was networking very easily, which is a big part of it. And I was booking shows like too easily in the beginning. And now it's been a bit after the pandemic, it's been way more of a struggle to get that momentum going. And that's why I'm so excited for Valley Pop-Ins, because that was another place where I had a weekly built-in time. We had different comics, good comics every week. So it really builds getting more shows too.
I didn't hear any trauma though.
That was childhood.
Oh, childhood
Yeah.
trauma.
Right, that's
Okay.
a good point. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I know, we're waiting. For the
Yeah.
trauma.
Oh, yeah. No.
Is Hello Kitty a product of a deal with Satan? So here's what Snopes.com has to say about Hello Kitty. The rumor about the little felines being a tribute to the devil from a grateful parent whose child was spared from the cruel and inevitable fate of a life-ending illness appears to be a backlash against all the cuteness and wholesomeness that is Hello Kitty. So, the rumor gained its start from a 2008 email rendered in Spanish, which asserted that the frantic parents of a 12-year-old stricken with cancer of the mouth made a pact with the devil to bring worldwide fame to a character alluring to children in exchange for their daughter's return to hell. The email also asserts that Hello Kitty's lack of a mouth comes from the 12-year-old girl's illness, because the girl had cancer of the mouth. So the character created to spare her life lacks that feature.
Interesting.
That could just be that maybe a guy.
Well, what's weird? What's weird about this in 2008 is that Hello Kitty started in like the 1970s.
Right?
So I don't understand how something that happened in 2008 has anything to do with something that started in 1970s.
No, the email was from 2008.
The email's from 2008. But
Yeah.
also,
They
note the
admitted to
culture
it.
thing. Because it's something that started in Latin America. I think that's how I heard of it. I heard about it from my cousins in Nicaragua.
The conspiracy?
The conspiracy.
Oh, conspiracy. Okay.
Like, so it makes sense. I had no idea that the email was in Spanish, but now it makes sense. Whatever that rumor was started somewhere
but it's from Japan.
down there. I know, but they wouldn't know that it was around from the 70s.
That was the deal they made with the devil.
Right.
Okay. The deal was, okay, we'll help your daughter, but we need to help out Japan from, this needs to be good for Japanese economics.
So they went to a different timeline, like Avengers?
Yeah. So it just hopped over.
No, it was under wraps until 2000.
Oh.
Yeah, it was under wraps, and
Yeah,
then
they
finally
finally-
someone leaked
the
in
guilt.
Spanish.
40 years of guilt.
Maybe they were Peruvian. Like, there's a lot of Asians in Peru, right? I heard about that.
I mean, it'd be more likely to be Brazil.
Brazil.
Yeah, right,
Okay.
Brazil, right?
Because
Especially with Japanese.
Well, yeah,
yeah.
because during World, I mean, this is
Oh.
super side topic. Is
Okay.
World War II, the Peruvian government exiled all Japanese from their
Oh.
country, gave them to the United States, and so all these Peruvian Japanese came to America, and they're supposed to be, traded. But then the Japanese government didn't want them because they were like Peruvian Japanese people. The Brazil government didn't actually agree to terms with the United States, and so that's why the biggest population of Japanese outside of Japan is actually in Brazil, Sao Paulo.
Huh.
Yeah, so Peru, but I have friends in Peru, Japanese friends in Peru, whose like dad was like, they just went in the forest or jungle and just hid out, and then once they stopped looking for the Japanese, they just came back. So there are a few. There's not as
Oh,
many as
wow.
used to be.
Interesting.
Whoa.
But I guess maybe one of those people came up with this rumor because they were resentful about
yeah.
not getting to go back to
Right,
Japan.
right.
Yep.
So, now additionally, some claim that Hello Kitty was a desperate attempt to save Japan's reputation after they built a very controversial nuclear plant. This is what Snopes.com had to say about this topic. It's crazy, though. Before I read this, the reputation should have been saved a long time before that. You know what I mean?
Well, I think it's because they were the only country that had nuclear weapons used against them, and then for them to have a nuclear power plant is like a thing.
And you know what's going to fix that? A little cat.
Right.
Bringing everyone together.
Well, soft power is a thing. I mean, I was just shooting a movie in February in North Carolina, and my AD, my assistant director, was super sad one day on set, and I was like, "Well, why are you so sad?" He's like, "My girlfriend just broke up with me." I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And he proceeded to tell me it's because she likes K-pop and she wants to date an Asian dude.
Oh.
And when I was young, nobody liked Asian men. Like we were like the lowest of the totem pole. And I was like, it's the first time in North Carolina, like in a rural part of North Carolina, somebody was being left for a Korean guy that didn't exist in their life.
That's very specific.
Yeah. And so and that's soft power though, right? That's just like watching K-pop, watching BTS or whatever, and being like, I want a boyfriend that looks like that. That's crazy to me.
Like, I don't feel like,
That's
so you know how it was like for a long time, white dudes were like the apex of attraction? I don't think that was because they were coming in and like genociding everybody. I think that was from TV and movies because that's just who people saw.
But on like race, statistic, beauty, the standards actually always been African American men first.
Oh.
Good job, Dwayne. And then white men, and then Latino men, and then Asian men.
Right,
for women, it was the opposite. So it was Asian women, white women, Latina, and then black. But it's all because of stereotypes. So like, what's the stereotype for a guy? Is that masculine, super strong? That's black men. And then for women, if you look at
feminine,
black women,
quiet,
well, for
reserved.
Asian women, and for black women, it's strong, loud, obnoxious, manliness, and so it's like really interesting.
But I think with black men, it was like maybe that's true, that attraction thing, but there's a stigma too.
No, of course.
But you always
still
have
fetishized
tall, dark, and handsome. So then I think Italian guys or any white guy with a melanin, like a olive kind of skin tone, I think they owe black guys a little bit of a check because we laid the pathwork for you. You know what I mean? Because it's like,
but being on top of that food chain is not great. I mean, like looking for Asian American women, it's like being quiet,
fetishized.
Yeah, and it's like, but I've never met an Asian American woman that didn't tell me what to do. Right? Like, I've never met this quiet, demure Asian woman.
That's the biggest crock in the world.
That's what I mean.
That thing is the biggest crock.
Like I've just never met that. I mean, like I've looked. And they don't exist because my mom was the head of the household here. My wife was the head of the household here.
Yeah.
It's like
I would say that's more of a cliche is that the Asian woman is like she's gonna whoop your ass if you don't shape up.
Yeah, Tiger Mom.
Tiger
totally.
Mom, yeah.
Tiger Mom.
So anyway, this is what Snopes.com had to say about this topic. So I've heard from a couple, this is quote, I've heard from a couple of people that Hello Kitty, the famous flagship mascot of Japanese mascot design house Sanrio, actually got her start as the mascot for a controversial nuclear plant in Japan in the early 70s, ? Seems that, given Japan's past with all things nuclear, the Japanese were understandably quite loath to having a nuclear plant opening on their soil. So, the story goes, they hired Sanrio to create a people-friendly mascot that they could use to brand all their official stationery, literature, advertisements, products, etc. That mascot was, of course, Hello Kitty, who became so popular with the Japanese general public that she and Sanrio took on a life of her own, and eventually everyone forgot about her power plant past and became the icon that she is today.
This is totally BS, by the way.
Well, it's just the idea that anything so like, don't get me wrong, a cute mascot can go a long way, but because the thing too is that symbols change. It takes a while. It's like a ship moving, but symbols change. Even if a symbol is thought of as good, if it keeps getting attached to bad things, the general public will eventually think that thing is bad. It'll change. The perception will change.
So all the Nazis needed was a good symbol.
Right?
I was
They
just thinking of
failed.
the Confederate flag. And I'm like, well, that was the first one that came to mind, although it's like not good throughout the you know what I'm saying. I'm just like, that's like such a symbol.
But if they had a cute puppy, maybe they would be.
Yeah, I know, right? They needed to do a little more better marketing.
But the Confederate flag was on the General Lee and the Dukes of Hazzard, and everyone loved it. Everyone loved the Dukes of Hazzard.
That's true.
It was like...
And sometimes ignorance, too, plays a role, right? Not really realizing what that means is just a symbol that you correlate with Southern pride, for example, and then you realize, oh, that's what that means? Yeah, boy.
But also that is like having a kitty cat as the symbol of a nuclear plant is so like, what's not dysphoria. That is so
dissonant,
like dystopic. It's such like a end of the world type of
but
thing.
Also, and then you're telling us that it's not a cat, she's a girl, and then you're like, oh, so does she look like a cat because she lives too close to a nuclear plant? Like,
she looked like a girl when she was born.
Right.
Too long next to that nuclear plant.
I want a nuclear plant here then.
Yes, like a kitty cat.
Turn into a cute kitty cat.
But it's also like the symbol for peace, right? Which is the Nazi symbol twisted, right? So before the Nazis, like if you take the Nazi symbol, I think you just turn it like you rotate it 90 degrees. That is a symbol for peace.
It's a Buddhist symbol.
A Buddhist symbol, right? But if you see that symbol now, it doesn't matter if it's turned the right way. You immediately go, Nazi. So it's been taken over. So
yeah,
symbols,
it's no longer
right? Symbols
a peace
can
symbol
the
anymore.
meaning of a symbol can sort of be shifted.
If there are any Proud Boys listening to us, I'm sure you just need to go to some marketing person.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Just rebrand.
Yeah, just rebrand. Maybe
Gotta rebrand it.
Maybe some cute creature will help.
That said, like fun fact though about that symbol and the connection to Buddhism and Nazism, there's kind of a bastardized version of Hinduism that trickled into Nazism. So they didn't just randomly pick that symbol.
I see.
There's a certain like mythology and worldview that they did adapt because in this, I read it, I have to cite my sources because, I am not Hindu, so I could totally get this wrong. So if I'm wrong, blame a Conspirituality podcast and their episodes on Alexander Dugin and also the book about Steve Bannon called War for Eternity. So yeah, there's this kind of these beliefs that the world operates in these eras and that there was once an era of like strong hierarchy and that we need to destroy the current era to return to hierarchy and that will establish peace and order.
I see.
And for some people, that is a peaceful worldview. And then for the Nazis who had it, they're like, yeah, let's destroy the world. So
I got this peace thing I'm trying to do. It starts with me killing everyone.
But there is actually a connection between that symbol and the Nazi symbol. It's not just a funny little coincidence that they liked it.
Well, it's also in Buddhism too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. In 2014, I was lucky enough to oversee an exhibition at the Japanese American National Museum where I learned too much about that character. Hello Kitty was created by Yuko Shimizu to sell products quicker. According to Sanrio, there is nothing satanic about this beloved character. The real reason why she does not have a mouth is because the creators wanted her emotions to be ambiguous, so people can imagine her feelings the same way as they do easily.
But based on this theory, she should just be a piece of paper. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, but if there's a mouth,
like
if the mouth is up, then it's obviously she's smiling and you're feeling sad, or if you're sad or anxious, like that's like they actually Sanrio. This is something that they really push.
I want them to test that. I would love to see like actual like brain things.
I would
stuck to
imagine
people's
the
heads.
eyes is what gives you
The emotion.
the emotion more.
At this moment, I would like you all to try something. It's a fun thing I do. I used to do it with friends all the time. And people listening, you can try it too. First, try to make your face where your eyes are happy, but your mouth is mad. I wish you could see everybody's face. Now, try to do one now where your eyes are mad, but your face is happy. It's fun. It's fun. If you tried it at home, you're having fun right now.
My brain is fritzing out.
Right.
Trying to compute that.
I feel like I look like a character, like a puppet, like an old man puppet.
All right, so now we asked ChatGPT about Hello Kitty and her satanic connection, and this is what it came up with. So we're going to listen to it, and then we'll react to it.
In a forgotten corner of the toy store, a Hello Kitty plush exuded an eerie allure. As twilight fell, it came to life, eyes turning crimson, whispering promises of power. It led a child into darkness. The once cheerful room turned malevolent, walls oozing shadows. Giggles turned to screams as the child realized the plush was a conduit for an ancient, malevolent force. Toys warped into grotesque forms, and the child found themselves in a nightmare. The plush grinned wickedly, absorbing their fear. The store remained forever closed, a chilling reminder that even the cutest can harbor the darkest evil.
Oh my god.
Wow. You did not ask ChatGPT a neutral prompt for that. That was clearly engineered.
That's behind the curtain, Kat.
That was a lot, yeah.
Well, what's funny is that she had a wicked smile, right? A grinned wickedly, which is what we're saying about the no mouth.
She has no mouth.
So that's like the scariest part. Their mouth happened.
Ooh,
pretty brutal.
Spooky.
Just listening to that, you can see why I don't watch horror films. So, do you think that these conspiracies have any merit to them? When we return, we'll talk about what really maybe happened.
Okay, now that we've gone over the facts and then some, what do we really think about Hello Kitty?
I guess I'll go. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention there was a Hello Kitty murder in Hong Kong. These guys brutally murdered this girl. It was just bummed me out this morning. I was having such a great time. I had a chai tea and with steamed soy and cinnamon. It was really great. And then I had to read these stories, and it just took me out of it. Yeah. And from that point on, even the refill didn't taste as good. The free refill I got at Starbucks was part of the gold member program. So anyway.
Okay, we get it. We get it.
Dude, you talk so much about Starbucks. It's like you should
It's
get
too
paid.
much.
You should get paid by
I know.
Starbucks.
But you know, I've
What about
transitioned over.
Panera? You were
I'm still Panera,
promoting
yeah.
the Panera
I'm with the
SIP
Club.
membership.
I'm with the SIP Club.
Sip club.
But I still dip into Starbucks. I shouldn't because there's no reason to go to Starbucks. But their Wi-Fi is better and they have different teas. Anyway, like Panera, if you got chai tea, that would do a lot. Like
They don't have chai tea? What the hell?
no, not like the self-help tea, like the self-serve tea. And
I
I
want
think
some self-help tea. That sounds amazing.
Yeah,
Self-serve,
I think we
yeah,
need
self-serve.
a lot of self-help tea.
there's a few flavors you could do away with too, Panera. Like obviously you keep the British breakfast, mango. I digress.
let's
I digress.
skip-
Yeah, I'm sorry. So anyway,
Is anyone from Panera listening?
So anyway, there was this murder, and it's really crazy. They killed this girl, and they put part of her body into a Hello Kitty doll. You know,
How
And,
big of the doll are we talking here?
I think just what I'm saying. I think just her head. It was a pretty big doll. And
Oh my god!
yeah, it's really, really sad. So my theory is not really related to that, but I do think I bring it up only because there's some kind of evil there. And my personal belief is most things from the Bible are
True,
any
100%,
religion-
and
Right.
word for word.
Right.
Yeah.
No, any religion, the rules and such and the stories, I think man, and I have faith, but I think man concocted them for a good reason. So like, don't eat pork was a thing, probably because back in the day, pork was not as healthy. So my theory is a little self-serving. I will say that, but I think men across the country will appreciate it. So I think Hello Kitty wasn't meant to be satanic, but over the years, I think there's been some sort of attachment, and I think you're safe from it if you have one or two. But I think you put yourself in grave danger if you're over 30 and you have more than 4 Hello Kitty anything, dolls, pencil case holders, then
Remember, there's
It
3 or
becomes-
more of me. There I am. What's the
Right.
Bible verse?
I think that sounds a bit like you eat. It's like a satanic ritualistic thing. Like it creates a trifecta. Like if you put the
Exactly.
crystals out.
Exactly. So, and it only kicks in if you're over 30. So if you're under 30, have at it. Once you turn 30, clear out your Hello Kitty stuff, keep one doll. But if you're listening and you are over 30 and you have more than 3 Hello Kitty anything, you're putting yourself in grave danger because the 3 sync up and it becomes a portal for evil to come and find you.
What if you're a dude and have more than 3?
Dude too.
Oh,
yeah,
dude
yeah.
too, okay.
Anybody.
Oh.
But the reason why I'm saying it helps, dude, is because some guy listening may have a wife or girlfriend who's 36 and really into the Hello Kitty thing. And by the way, I don't want to get sued, but there may be the same thing may exist with Mickey Mouse. So if you're over 30,
If that were the case, a lot of
Right,
nerds would be dying
I know,
by the
right?
day.
I know you're right. So that's my theory. I don't think Hello Kitty, it wasn't meant to be evil, but somehow there's been some sort of attachment, and you're safe if you are either under 30 or over 30 and keep it to like 2 things in your house at one given time.
Okay, so my theory is that Hello Kitty is not satanic. It's actually a gray alien.
Oh boy.
Yeah, because there's no mouth, right? So
Right.
gray aliens are known to speak telepathically.
Okay,
So
that's true.
there
That's
you go.
true.
They're small. Like gray aliens are small, right? I went and looked on what are gray aliens online, right? And they're small stature. They have small arms. Hello Kitty's arms are really small.
Never pick up a check. Anyway, go ahead.
But gray, and gray could be white, right? If you like, kind of.
Yes.
If you close your eyes a little bit. Both of them don't have sexual organs, right? That's a very common trait in the gray aliens.
Right.
They both like childlike, gray aliens and Hello Kitty. And the gray alien, one big difference between the gray aliens and the kind of Hello Kitty is the nose and ears. One of the big features of a gray alien is they don't have either. The saving grace is that, there's this theory online, we talk about it a lot, where Asians are gray aliens. And who created Hello Kitty?
There you go.
Asians.
Ah.
All right, so it all works together. And
Okay.
so my part of my theory is that in 1974, when Hello Kitty was born, is that it was Japan's attempt at alien disclosure.
Oh, I love this.
That aliens actually exist, but they couldn't just say it, or else it'd like freak everybody out.
Right, which is why she's not a cat. She's human. It's a human.
Yeah, but it doesn't look human at all.
Exactly.
Right.
There you go. So that's my theory right there.
I love that. Absolutely love it.
I'm into it.
Okay.
Here's my theory. I think that, so in Latin America, people don't like cats. at least like in Nicaragua, people don't have cats as pets. They think that is super, super weird. And we have cats at my mom's house. We have 2. And when we told our family that we had cats, they were super grossed out. And they were like, ew, like, what? Why? Why would you have a cat? Those are like rats or insects. So I think that when Hello Kitty became popular in Latin America, people were just really, really confused because they hate cats. They're like, why on earth? Why wouldn't this be a parrot? We have parrots as pets. This should be a parrot. It should have been like, hello, Polly, like Polly the parrot. And
Not a bad idea.
We should start this.
Yeah.
they like just could not reconcile it because they hate cats so much there. They're like, the only way that people in the whole entire world could like Hello Kitty is if it was satanic. There is absolutely no way people could not hate cats. So they came up with that theory. They're like, someone sold their soul to the devil in order for cats to be likable.
So it is satanic then.
Yes. Well, no, to them. That was the only way that they could reconcile
Right.
Hello Kitty being cute and popular.
I like that theory. It's like, and I like this guy. I'm just joking, but it's kind of like trying to explain Tom Arnold's success. You're like, oh, it must be.
Like why Billy Crystal was in rom-coms.
Right.
My whole life I've been like, this is the guy that we put as the lead in the,
With Meg Ryan.
with fucking Meg
Right.
Ryan.
It's because he looked like whoever wrote those movies.
Oh, 1,000%.
Yes.
There was a really unattractive short Jewish man writing all those screenplays, being like, finally.
Right.
That's a great theory.
I love that
Wait,
theory
That
too,
is
actually.
my theory. But I have another theory. Okay, so my second theory is that the communist government of Venezuela was angry about Hello Kitty getting popular because they don't like American / non-Venezuelan Latin American culture kind of just seeping in and taking shit over. So they spread a rumor, a propaganda all over to squash it before people liked it too much and it would take over. Because, as Dwayne and I were talking about earlier, all these symbols that are really popular from McDonald's, KFC, it's everywhere. It's taken over. Like it's colonized without being officially colonizing.
Yeah, it's a cultural colonization. And it's like, I've been to the Great Wall of China, I think 2 times. And one entrance of the Great Wall, there's a Burger King.
Yeah.
And it's like, just doesn't feel right.
No.
You know what I mean? Now, did I get a Whopper meal? Yes, I did. But
Did I contribute to the problem? Yes, I did.
I do feel like to McDonald's credit, they actually have like slightly culturally specific meals in every country. So you could get Indian food at a McDonald's in India, but it's still weird American symbol.
it's more like Indian-inspired food as opposed to like, you know.
Oh boy. I mean, you guys really put in some thought into these theories. I think that Hello Kitty is satanic specifically. And that goes into me not believing in Satan. So it's kind of hard for me to be like, yeah, I think that there's any kind of, Satan or devil influence. Now, I will say picking up on some evil residue somewhere in the mix for sure. But I think that, the devil lives in us.
Interesting.
Like there's good and evil in everyone. So I just think that for some reason, this particular totem, I think definitely leans in the direction of evil for some reason to me. And this is just an intuitive pickup, okay?
Right.
I don't really have any logic behind this. This is a feeling. This is a sense. But usually, where there's smoke, there's fire. And if there's a lot of controversy around a person, a place, or a thing, I tend to think it's the person, the place, or the thing. Now, I definitely don't buy into my daughter's dying of cancer, so I'm going to create a Japanese doll with the devil. That'll fix it. I don't know why the devil cares about Japan. I don't know why, why is the devil making deals being like, fine, I'll help you.
Have you tried the sushi? No,
Yeah. No, that might be satanic or something. Yeah. It's so good. But yeah, I don't think that's the story. I do find it interesting with that not having the mouth. There's something there. That seems evil to me for some reason. But I also think anytime somebody makes something that's supposed to be so pure and perfect and happy and all this stuff, it's like what's behind the purity and the light and all that stuff, because wherever there's light there has to be dark. So I do think there's evil, but I don't think it's the devil specifically.
And do you think it was created to be evil or somehow attracted evil.
I guess it depends on what you think about money, and is money evil? Because I think that's why this was made.
So since we've discussed all of this, what do you guys think is the best theory?
I want to chime in, but I want to ask Caitlin something. You say you don't believe in the devil, right?
Yeah.
But do you believe in God? I'm just trying to...
Yes.
Okay.
I just don't believe in
But
like
you believe
an
in...
evil, like there's the sun, but like the moon doesn't produce inky blackness. The moon is just, or the darkness is just absence of light. So there is no evil,
There's
entity.
good, and then there's
absence of good.
Okay, so an evil lives in us. There's evil, but there's no devil in the sense. That's your
There
kind
could
of
just be like a lack of good.
That's what
in
makes us
person.
human. Otherwise, we would just be gods.
I see.
I don't disagree with that. I think there's something to that because when you meet people who are like really messed up psychos, usually it's just like they lack empathy.
Yeah.
Right. But it means that God would be both good and evil then, in a sense.
We're human. We're in the meat suits.
Oh,
the
I
meat
see.
suits what provides the shadow, the darkness, the
This
evil.
sounds like critical race theory right now.
Yeah.
Empathy,
We
critical.
say meat suits?
Yeah, you're in a flesh bag.
Oh, okay.
You're
okay.
human.
My brain just went to that movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once. I just went to the sausage fingers. I didn't like that part of that movie. But I like your theory. I like it.
Yeah.
So which theory are you going to go with, Dwayne?
Okay, Kat, I liked your first one. I love your second one. I don't mind mine only because it's going to make someone somewhere clear out some Hello Kitty stuff, which I think is not a bad thing. Someone who's too old to have,
Sure.
based on my opinion. But I got to go with Koji's. I just feel like we talk about great aliens a lot here. We just had a sort of emergency quote unquote podcast where we talk about where they have admitted that they're aliens. I just love the idea that an alien or someone who quote unquote is part alien develop this sort of
Way to reveal the
alien
truth.
way to reveal the truth. I like that a lot because we always talk about that, like governments giving you a little bit of something to get you ready.
Yeah.
To
that's why
to
in
prime
movies,
you.
I mean, that people like we always talk about, people in movies talk about how there are good aliens and bad aliens. And so like when we see an alien, it's not necessarily to freak out because they could be like E.T.
Right.
Or they could be like the aliens from Aliens and Predators or something, and that's a
just
bad
trying
one.
to eat everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like PR. It was good alien PR in a sense. The Hello Kitty thing.
Yeah.
You know. So I like that theory.
Kat, which theory are you going to go with?
Okay, I think I have to go with my own theory, the communist propaganda theory.
I like that one too,
specifically.
yeah.
I think I feel it because one time, this was a few years ago, my mom got a chain letter. my citation is of a chain letter as evidence of this from somebody a Venezuelan person forwarded it to a friend of mine, mom's in Nicaragua, forwarded it to her that Venezuela was like banning Mickey Mouse because they hate America. And so therefore they could totally do that with Hello Kitty. That's my evidence. It's not good evidence at all.
Right.
Those are terrible research practices. Do not base any life decision on research practices that involve chain letters. I have to say that as a disclosure.
Well, okay, first, I should have said a disclosure on mine is that I would love to write a Hello Kitty movie or TV show from Sanrio. So I don't believe any of this Sanrio. So please, if you consider need a writer for Sanrio, I've talked to them before about writing their stuff. I would love to write it. I love Hello Kitty.
Right. You know, that makes me think we should have a little disclaimer at the beginning of our podcast where we go, the views of this podcast are not necessarily the views of this podcast.
You can still hire us for Starbucks or
Right.
for Sanrio or anything like that.
Yeah.
A Panera Bread. But
Panera.
I'm voting for mine only because I do. I was super excited when I started thinking like about Grays and Hello Kitty.
I feel like you really want Asians to be aliens.
Yeah, we do.
Right.
I do.
What's crazy is that here's what's crazy about it is that I don't know if you guys watch the show Suits. I've been plowing through.
I feel like you talk about Suits almost every time I see you. I think you drop a Suits in there.
Have we been talking? Have I? Yeah, maybe.
When you
Talk
said
about it on
meat
stage.
suits, he was
Oh,
like,
I did.
suits? What?
I
Suits?
talked about it on stage. I forget what show that
It
was.
was Sean Pulaski's social media meltdowns.
Yes. Well, the thing is that there's this character who just keeps doing the wrong thing, right? And somehow the writing is pretty good. It's sort of like you're still a little bit surprised because you're like, I can't believe this guy's going to do it again. And maybe that's just human nature. Maybe people don't change. So when you said the alien thing, Koji, I'm like, how could I be surprised that Koji went to aliens? This is what he does. And when you said it, I was like, oh, I didn't see that coming. And I don't know how I didn't see it coming. That's the crazy thing. But
His conspiracy always goes back to
Asians and
typically,
aliens.
Asian
yeah, typically.
Mine always goes back to
Yeah.
that. All right.
So I like yours a lot. And I'm usually anti-capitalist, but I'm gonna.
Yeah. So right now it's 2-1. So you're.
Oh boy. Honestly, none of these make sense to me. If I'm going to be real.
As they should not.
Yeah.
As they should not. Yes.
But if it's me, and am I going to go with something believable like communism or something a little far off like Little Gray Men? I'm going to go with the aliens every time. I just feel like it's a more exciting narrative. I'm sorry if it was like if this was real, which it isn't. This was clearly just made by a company to sell to kids. If there was an alternate narrative, I would hope that it was these really creative little aliens making this Catwoman creature for everybody.
Nice.
Oh, man.
Sorry.
We are too far removed from the Cold War.
Right.
That's what a lot of people keep saying. I keep hearing people say that.
Well, that is the official story, you guys. When we return, we'll discuss other cartoon-related conspiracy theories.
Okay, everyone. I will list a few theories about some beloved animated characters and then decide which one is true. Here are the theories. 1. Garfield has been alone this entire time, slowly starving to death and imagining everything.
What do you guys think about that? Up or down?
Up, I think that is on money. I think he is wishing that his dad would make him lasagna, but his dad doesn't exist. He's a stray cat in Venezuela.
I would say yes, only because Garfield is fat, and I think it's like they say when someone's about to die, your life flashes in front of you, and maybe that moment you're about to die, that has its own infinity to it, and you could just in that second think of everything and live in that space. So I think if this cat was starving, he would be fantasizing about being a fat cat somewhere.
Yeah,
so,
I give a thumbs up as well. I think this sounds realistic.
Sorry, I'm going to be a naysayer and say no. This is not real. Why do that? Why do this to yourself? Why create this whole show and be like, but it's all a dream? Like, what writer does that?
It's all hallucination.
Yeah, it's all just made up.
Yeah.
Yep.
I feel Ozarks was all a dream. Show Ozarks. Ozark or Zarks, I'm not sure.
I mean, I feel like there's so many. I mean, that's why it's a trope, because it's just like it's a way to get out of narratives and stuff.
Because
she was asleep.
They all almost died, and so that means they were all in some kind of limbo. Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
I was gonna say, who's watching Ozarks?
Next, Dwayne.
Okay, Tom and Jerry are actually friends.
Well, I'll go on this. I had a cat and dog, and my cat and dog, when we were in public with other people watching, they hated each other. They'd chase each other and try to bite each other or scratch. But when I'd watch them on camera, and they'd cuddle together at night and during the day. And so I think that, they want to push the agenda that cats and dogs don't like each other. But in reality, they actually are friends.
So sick of that narrative.
I'm going to go ahead and disagree because I've been watching a pit bull lately. It's my boyfriend's pit bull. And anytime we see a cat out in public, which that actually supports your theory, he tries to eat it and murder it times infinities. I don't think they would. Nope. Mm-mm.
I'm going to say yes, they are friends, especially since this was a TV show. They were on the clock. And then while they're on the clock, they have to argue and fight. When they get off the clock, they're not fighting anymore. And I don't know, I go back to Strom Thurmond.
That's
Southern
weirdly political.
Politician. Yeah, because his rhetoric was, I think, sort of separationist and, a bit anti-black. But then he had a black kid, though. So he was doing all that talking and then sliding off and getting some of the brown sugar. So
this one checks out for me. I do think that they could be friends. I could see it. I'm seeing that maybe there was some backstory with like the owner, the master of one of these animals, and that they're trying to work together to make sure they both survive. And so it's all just theatrics. I think that makes sense to me from a writer's standpoint. Like,
absolutely,
it adds to the story to have them actually just
that's the
playing.
That's the subtext.
That's the subtext there, and that's believable to me.
Right. And sometimes Jerry just needs Tom's whisker to play the guitar. Doesn't he take his whisker and
yeah. I mean, to me, if anything, they're siblings. Like, I know that's impossible because they're two different animals, but it's just giving giving like sister vibes to me.
Hello Kitty is a girl, so anything's possible.
That's true.
Yes.
It's possible.
The next one, the Flintstones actually live in a post-apocalyptic world.
So what's crazy about this is the Jetsons is the actual society, and then there was something that happened that went crazy, and then it became the Flintstones. That's why they have this. They oddly have a lot of technology, right? But that they're also in the Stone Age.
But the dinosaurs
The dinosaurs, yeah.
That kills
that's
the
Yeah,
true.
you
in my
can't bring it
opinion.
back.
Well, no, but
That's true.
I mean, they're trying to redo the mammoths. the woolly
Or
mammoths,
maybe
right?
this is like post Jurassic Park. Like
Yes.
so
Yes.
here's how it goes. It goes Jetsons, then a Jurassic Park type of a world happens.
With
then the
DNA
dinosaurs
and
come
cloning.
back and
Yes.
they are all over the world.
You guys
Maybe
are
that's
stretching it.
how the apocalypse happens. Everyone dies except for a remaining few, and they have to make it work. Flintstones. Boom.
I love this theory.
Multiverse.
Yeah, I love this theory because, and I think also it's good. It's good for us to think this way because we take a lot for granted, and if we don't do the right thing, if we do blow ourselves up, we could completely set ourselves back centuries. And it ties into I think it was Einstein who said, I don't know how we're going to fight World War III, but I know World War IV we'll fight with sticks and stones. So basically, whatever World War III is going to destroy the world, and we're going to be back to the basics.
I wouldn't
of
mind
sticks
it.
and stones. Yeah, because then you wouldn't have to post anything, right? You would be like,
I just think we're getting,
no more content, you know?
we're getting so far off humanity track to me,
Yeah.
and everything's turning into robots and computers and stuff. I would not mind just to hit the refresh button a little bit. That part makes sense to me, but the dinosaurs is a big clincher for me. I'm sorry, it's not adding up.
Okay.
And for this one, I guess we could just ask the people who wrote Toy Story 3, but Toy Story 3 is an allegory for the Holocaust.
Why don't you
What?
read? Why don't you read the
Yeah,
whole thing that way?
let's read it.
There's
Yeah.
context on this one.
So here's why people think this. First, the toys were forced to leave their home and then find themselves at Sunnyside Daycare, where they are imprisoned, routinely mistreated, and injured. Near the film's climax, there is a scene that looks like they're all about to perish in an incinerator together. If you replace a few of those key characters and locations with some of the victims and perpetrators of World War II, there's a disturbing similarity.
You could really replace anything in any movie with a lot
Absolutely.
of things. Maybe just replace the whole plot.
The hero's journey.
It's the Holocaust.
Yeah. I'm gonna say no on this one only because it would be a weird way to teach kids about it. I don't know.
I don't think that's why you do it. I don't think
Yeah.
you do it to teach kids about the Holocaust. I think if anything, it's almost like an allegorical kind of story that you use maybe as inspiration.
Right.
If anything, like here's something. What's the most awful thing that can happen to these characters? Well, the
Right.
Holocaust was pretty freaking bad. Let's use that as kind of a plot outline.
Except for here's the difference. You're not killing all 6 million of these toys so that there's none left on the planet with that aim. So it's
yeah,
well,
they're
different.
missing a dictator character or
That too.
somebody
Right,
who's
right.
I think that the meaning or like the what do you call it? Like why they're doing what they're doing isn't really there.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want to bring down the mood of the podcast. We're all being very jolly, but I think it kind of completely you can't compare something to the Holocaust without understanding, like thinking about like the just massiveness. Like, imagine a stadium, like Dodger Stadium, full of people, right? What's that, like 10,000? I don't know how many.
It's 55,000.
55,000 people. Okay, that's like not even 10% of 1 million. Right?
Right.
How many I'm bad at math in my head, which is weird because I've been a statistician for many years
6 million.
professionally.
Yeah,
That's a lot of Dodger stadiums. That's
a
a
lot.
lot of freaking people. Have you ever tried to leave Dodger Stadium during a game?
I have. Yeah.
That's a lot of effing people.
Which is why people come to Dodger Stadium the 3rd inning and leave the 7th inning. It's just completely ridiculous.
So it would be
I'm one of those
it would
people.
be like Toy Story 3 would be like the Holocaust if they went to a warehouse full of Barbie dolls and Woodies and like Buzz Lightyears and
Right.
then burnt that to a crisp and then went to another warehouse and then went to all of the warehouses where you
Yeah.
find all of the toys and destroyed all of those toys and then did that all again.
And
That's the version that didn't test well, though.
Right.
I wonder why.
And you would need years of people denying that it was happening and being complicit. You know what I mean? And also, it would be an allegory to any group of people.
Yeah.
Dicking over any other group of people. So it doesn't even have to be the Holocaust. It's just
I think the
people hurting
incinerator,
people.
not to be dark, I think the incinerator
Maybe.
part is maybe the piece that might be the part that people are sticking with. But-
So to whoever made this theory, like good job identifying incinerators.
And also, no one says that Toy Story 3 didn't happen. So there's that too. But
Yeah, I think we
Wait,
can all agree.
did it really happen?
right.
Do we really know it happened? I mean, because I think going back to the Mandela effect, I mean, I think Sinbad made a movie. called Shazam.
No, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I
Wait,
thought
did
that
he
too.
though?
In my
he
timeline,
claims no.
in the timeline I was in, it totally happened.
That happened. I believe.
Yeah,
that
I was
happened.
totally
And then
alive when
I
this
heard that he took he literally bought all the. That's another. Have you done that one on the show? Because that's a great one. Shazam.
Did Shazam happen?
Shazam happen because
Well,
there's so
talked
many
about,
theories.
we
It's a
talked about the Mandela effect.
Yeah, Mandela
Yeah.
effect, yeah.
And that Sinbad, but there was, I thought I saw an interview where, now this could be the Mandela effect, that he talks about that he was so embarrassed by the film that he went and bought like every.
No, the theory is
copy.
it doesn't exist. It never existed.
I know, I'm saying there's another theory.
Oh, okay.
But I have such a memory of it.
Yeah,
To
I
think that
swear
it did exist.
happened.
Yeah. I think it's
And
just
everybody has that same memory.
it's just timelines overlap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have overlapping of spheres of not timelines. What is it called?
That's going to happen so much more in the future. Like
Yeah.
fast forward 10, 15 years when everybody who's like currently in elementary school and high school, like they're going to like the whole war of Northern aggression thing versus the Civil War. Not to get too political here, but yeah, once all these schools start teaching totally different versions of history, it's going to be a weird world. Like the Mandela effect will be so much
Well,
more.
I mean, half the country
prevalent.
believes that the election was stolen. And
Yeah.
that there's like all this evidence. And the other half is like, what the fuck are you talking
Literally
about?
the judges.
Right?
Like
Like-
yeah.
Confirmation bias is a
Yeah.
crazy thing.
So thank you, Caitlin, for joining us. Please
you.
tell us where the audience can find you.
Caitlin Alyn on all the platforms, and that's ALYN. So come find me. Come to
You
Valley
maybe-
Poppins on Tuesdays.
Maybe want to spell Caitlin too.
CAITLIN.
See, because I spell Caitlin K and then the letter 8 and then
Oh,
L-Y.
right. That's a very common mistake. Yeah.
Right.
So you got to specify. And thank you all so much for listening. There are almost 3 million podcasts, and we're honored you chose ours to listen to. And please check out our website, unofficialofficialstory.com, for our show notes or to hear our past episodes. And be sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, or X, or whatever it's called today, and now on TikTok as well. And next month, we will discuss, did Walt Disney create Frozen as a distraction?
Definitely created as a headache to
Yeah.
watch.
Distraction from what? That he's frozen?
Yeah.